Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. And it is that time again. It is that time again. Mark, it is you there, over there, up north. It's me, Daryl, down here, down south, if you will, Sunnyside, California. And it is Old Men and Their Crypto. Thank you for joining in. If you are new to this pod, man, we give it to you. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. As my man, Mark from the North, is always with me to spread love, spread good news about what's going on. Mark, what's good with you, man? How you been? How's the day been?
What's up, Daryl? I'm doing good, man. Day's been pretty good. Can't complain. It's nice and cool here in Toronto. Last week it was super hot. I think I was bragging about. But today it's actually nice and cool. It's actually my favorite time of year, as of many a year as well, Daryl. Probably for football and everything. So yeah, man, I'm getting really hyped for football season. I've been kind of low key um, on the betting vibes online anyway for the last little bit, but I'm getting ready for NFL. The weather is cooperating, that brisk,
Mm-hmm.
cool fall air, which I
Yes,
love.
yes.
You could throw a hoodie on and kind of bundle up a bit. So yeah, it's all
Yes.
good. Glad to be here talking some crypto today and some sports, I think, as well, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, for sure. How you doing, man? How's
I
everything with you?
I can't complain, man. We did have a little scare actually. Um, my grandmother had a stroke yesterday, and so it got kind of hectic. I'm not gonna lie, man. It was kind of hectic because she was in the hospital. So we did go to the hospital. As you know, they don't have any beds anywhere. So she went from the ICU to a regular bed, but it was just a mess. I'm not gonna lie. It
Damn,
was
sorry to hear that, man.
yeah,
Hopefully everything's okay. Yeah, it's too bad. Is
yes.
is she in the hospital now, or
She's
is
still in
she?
the hospital. Yeah, she's still in the hospital. What wound up happening really was her blood pressure got really high. Now she had COVID last year, and there were some complications because of that. So all in all, it was a scare. It was a scare, but for what it's worth, she was able to come out on top of. It was really weird seeing her in that position, but
For sure.
I just got to say she made it. You know, she made it. So
Yeah,
so I
prayers
have
up
to.
for Tiffany, man. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I mean, we've got family around the clock just checking in and stuff like that. But yeah, it was one of those days yesterday. And then I broke my phone. Now, years ago, Mark, breaking your phone would be like whatever, right? My God, Mark. I mean, breaking your phone is almost everything. It's almost like getting robbed.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because
your whole life's been there. Your day to day, everything you do is there,
yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, yeah. And here's the other bad thing. All of my crypto stuff is in my phone. So,
Yeah.
I'll show you here. This is this is my phone on drugs, right? Or off drugs.
Yeah,
And then this is my phone on drugs. So
man.
the whole screen is gone. That happened late yesterday. I had to go through insurance and stuff like that, waiting for them to mail me a phone because Best Buy was trying to charge me $300 to put on a new screen. I'm like, oh hell no! Let me just see if I got insurance.
Of course they would. Of course they
Yeah,
would.
yeah. So we are back at it today, man. Old men and their crypto. I know we've taken some time off. We've actually got a whole live studio up and running, but I'm just coming to you nice and easy from the laptop today. Wanted to make it a little easy for you. Wanted to get Mark on. I wanted to make sure we didn't go too far long without tapping in with y'all. And so, with that said, we are talking some good topics today. I would have to admit, man, these topics today are awesome because, as you know, Mark, you and I also are handicappers in our own right, if you want to call it that. We make a living also off sports betting. And with sports betting, uh, it becomes a little tricky, and you got to know when to not fall for the tricks. And for what it's worth, Mark, would you agree, man, that this is almost like sports betting?
I think it's a lot like that actually, and I think that's why the two spaces are actually merging and have
Mm-hmm.
been actually kind of merging for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
um, in a number of different areas within the space, right? So
Mm-hmm.
uh, we can get into it a little bit down further on here, Daryl, but absolutely, I think it's the um, same sort of thing needed to kind of be successful in the space here. So
Mm-hmm.
there's only a matter of time before the two merge. And some of the books that are out there, I think they've been accepting crypto as payments and
Yeah.
also paying out.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's kind of companies who are running a whole sort of betting platform off of
Mm-hmm.
like a blockchain, built off like blockchains essentially. So um, same way that kind of with the crypto, it's kind of getting rid of that middleman.
Mm-hmm.
So is kind of these platforms building these for crypto space there, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no actually book anymore. It's all just
Right.
distributed on the platform, right? So
Right.
yeah, absolutely, they're intertwined. I would say 100%.
So here we go. It's Thursday, the first week of September. Before we get into crypto and the NFL, what has the market told you this week? We obviously talk about two main coins, right? We talk about Bitcoin and we talk about Cardano. Bitcoin in the American dollar hit the 50,000 mark. It was making waves and now it's down a little. Cardano hit the $3 mark. It
Sure.
got to $3. You know what I'm saying? And now it's back down to 290. I have to get the live ticker. What is the market telling you, man? It still seems bullish to me, Mark. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right about that for sure, and especially for those few coins that you mentioned, and I know Ethereum broke 1,000 here as well, anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a big milestone for it as well. They're consolidating their price action Ethereum last week, right? So it's getting higher, and I think the breakout looks kind of imminent for them, Daryl. To be honest with you, because like I said, it was over 1,000 when I checked this morning, and I was like, wow, okay, so I think this thing's on the move here right now. So
Right.
the thing with Ethereum though, it seems to always be stuck in that kind of 3,000 to like 3,400
Yeah.
range. So man, listen, if it could kind of break that, then I think it's going to be on its way. And again, as anything's happening with the economy, right? Every day it's something new, man, right? So and this is all plays into a big part of it as well. And people are seeing that they need a safe haven for their cash because nothing seems safe or reliable these days, right? So I think that it's just again more people are getting educated and coming into the space. Just another quick thing, Daryl. I know, like you mentioned, Bitcoin. It was definitely up a few $1,000s last week, and it seems to. If it breaks that next threshold in the next 48 hours, I think we could be moving pretty quick on the way up. So,
Yeah.
but the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, in the United States, he there was sort of a short-term policy that he made last week, and simply he was saying basically is that he's encouraging more money supply. No surprise there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which would lead to lower interest rates and encourage people to invest in these type of things. So as long as he keeps printing money, like we've stated before, that's only a good thing for cryptocurrency in the whole. So
Tell me this. This is one thing I wanted to ask you, Mark. Why do you think there? And I already kind of know this answer because of how you think, but just to say it, just so everyone hears, why do you think there's such pushback with these billionaires that's trying to, push this narrative that their crypto is terrible, don't even think about investing in it. This is not something you should put your money on. Why is it so much pushback?
yeah, I think if we're talking about like that level of wealth, like billionaires, I think there's quite a lot who are actually kind of in the space, and I would say they're probably more like the younger ones, if anything. If that kind of makes sense, right? You hear people like Warren Buffett, who's kind of looked at as like a investment god, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's done well, and of course they've manipulated the markets and to earn their living for sure. But years ago, a couple years back, he was saying things like, crypto is rat poison and it's
Mm-hmm.
garbage and all this stuff. But me personally, I find it hard to believe that somebody like him doesn't have, like 1,000 PhDs who are right out of school, who kind of with their ear to the street and they know what it is. You'd think one
Right.
of them can kind of say, hey, hey, Mister, you might want to put just a little bit in here to kind of see it. So I think ones like that kind of drive it.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, as they're saying it's garbage, it's garbage, and garbage.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, they're scooping it up all in the back end, especially knowing that there's like cap supply on certain things as well. So um, I think the ones who are doing that, I think the ones who are involved in investment companies who are getting into the space.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like any. It's kind of just like sort of a view of the world and how you see things, right? Some people still want to watch VHSs.
Right.
And
I don't know why.
and carry beepers and stuff, right? But but things have evolved and technology's evolved since then. So it's all kind of how you see it and how you want to play it. But I wouldn't say all that's level is against it. I'd say there's some. I'd say it's more the banks that are really the last straw, right? Because they're
Right.
kind of that's their business, man. You can't take away their bread and butter, right?
That's right.
Charge people out of thin air for nothing and have them trap their whole life in a casino.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So crypto in the NFL, it's huge, right? Now we can encompass all sports, if you will, but it seems like the NFL is most popular. Um, where do crypto and sports come together, Mark? Where do you see that intertwining? As
Yeah,
far, well, I would say is how the market, how the sports market, if you will, is turning into crypto. Like, what are you seeing happening?
yeah, and I think the reason it's turning into crypto is probably not the owners doing it. It's probably the players saying, "Hey, listen, this thing is around and it's available, and I want to be involved with it." So it's kind of like they're kind of forcing the teams who are not involved, because there are
Hmm.
some teams, Daryl, who are involved, and we can run through a couple names here. But I think it really starts with if you know Russell Okung, he's an offensive tackle in the
Yes.
NFL. He tweeted sort of back in 2019, I believe, like "pay me in Bitcoin," right? So,
Hmm.
and he came pretty much almost a year ago, last December. Became the first professional athlete to be paid in Bitcoin. So, what did he do? So he wasn't technically paid in Bitcoin. What he did was he converted half of his salary, which at the time I believe was 13 million, to Bitcoin, right? So let's say 6 million, 6.5 million, through a company called Zap, and that company owns Strike. And if you know about Strike, Strike is the exchange that enables the conversion essentially, which
Hmm.
allows people to convert,
Hmm.
funds from cash to Bitcoin essentially. So once he did that, then he was able to put halfway in his Bitcoin account again. So the price of the Bitcoin when he did it pretty much a year ago, Daryl, was I think 27,000, right? So it's more than doubled since then.
Wow.
So he just flipped half of his salary,
Right.
right? And he doubled it already like that. So that automatically bumps him into like the top five, probably like 30 most paid guys in the league already. So what's the opposite if he didn't do that? Let's say
Hmm.
he kept it in cash. Well, it can only go one way. It's going to go down. You're going to lose value. It's going to decrease in what you're able to purchase and purchasing power,
Hmm.
because they keep printing, which we've talked about, right? So
Right.
so what does that mean? That means Russell's pretty tuned into what's going on, I'd say, and he was able to arrange that probably through his agent, I would assume, Daryl,
Hmm.
and company, and he was able to do that. So, but before Russell Okung, actually, Matt Barkley, the quarterback, he was actually the first to kind of try to persuade his teams at the time, when I think he played for the San Francisco 49ers a couple years back,
Hmm.
to be paid Bitcoin, but he was also unsuccessful in that. So, and I'll just run through a couple athletes who are kind of invested in the space in different factions here, Daryl.
Hmm.
So Trevor Lawrence, right? So
Yes.
quarterback of Jacksonville, he gets his
Yes.
bonus paid in Bitcoin, right? Serena Williams, she was an early investor in Coinbase, right, which we know is the largest kind of crypto platform in the world. Your boy Saquon Barkley, all his future endorsements are going to be paid to him in Bitcoin.
Right. Right.
Cade Cunningham, right, drafted by he now I think he did it through. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daryl, but I think his deal was negotiated through BlockFi to pay his signing
I believe
bonus.
so. Yeah. I was actually looking at the people now. I haven't gotten there, but I believe you're right.
Yeah, I think so. I think he has involved in that as well. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's um, Sacramento Kings, I think, were the first team to accept Bitcoin, and they did it 6, 7 years ago, Daryl. Right? So, and you didn't hear much about that there were accepting it as exchange for merchandise on the
Hmm.
team and be able to buy seasons tickets and these things
Hmm.
like that. So
Yeah.
again, The crypto I think really it's kind of weird. As soon as this COVID thing hit, man, it seems like
Mm-hmm.
everybody kind of ran for cover. Like, where do I store my wealth now? Where do I put my
Right.
money? My money,
Right.
the value's down. I can't.
Right.
It cost me, more now to buy the same thing I was last time. So, it really got more on the mainstream. I think once COVID hit as well,
Mm-hmm.
and people are more involved in as well. So we just see tons of people flooding into the space. And like I said, Sacramento Kings are allowing their staff to be paid in Bitcoin if
Mm-hmm.
they choose, and things like that. So listen, I said at the onset of this little topic here, Daryl, that it's sort of not. I think it's sort of player generated, this interest in Bitcoin and kind of forcing. And I'll give you an example. I'll put it like this. Let's say, imagine the friggin' gymnastics that the Los Angeles Lakers did if
Yeah.
LeBron James came to them and said, I want to be paid in Bitcoin. Now, you better believe Jeannie Buss is going to talk to whoever she needs to talk to make sure that Bitcoin is on the Los Angeles Lakers balance sheet, right? So think about it. That concept's not so far fetched. I mean, if guys like Russell Okung, like no offense, right, are able to sort of convert it. If LeBron James went went to Jeannie Buss and said, "Jeannie, I want to be paid in Bitcoin," she's gonna do whatever she can to pay him in Bitcoin. I think, right? So
That is insane. Well, first off, I was checking. Yes, it is BlockFi, so they're doing a lot of promotional and educational stuff. What you have to see, what I've seen, Mark, all these guys are young. These guys are young, man. Cade Cunningham's not even, he's still pissing monkey water, right? Like Serena, okay, she's older, of course, but they're young guys. Trevor Lawrence is young. But what it also does is he's going to command that economy, or when it's time for him to really promote his own crypto, you better believe it's going to be good. I think these guys made wise investments based upon the marathon train of thought, where these cryptos have the capacity to be in the next, couple of years. Maybe not right now, Mark, but in the next couple of years.
for sure.
So crypto in the NFL is a huge thing. I mean, it's what it is right now. You're going to see a lot of players down the line, and I guarantee you, they're probably doing it on a secret level right now. And the reason why is solely based off the example you had given. Russell Okung got in when that Bitcoin was 27K, and he doubled his profits. He
Yeah,
doubled his income based off, just go ahead.
not just he just based off of a decision,
Yeah.
right? He just said, if I leave it here, I'm going to lose money.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I do? So he converted. All he did was he transferred something through his phone, Daryl, and he doubled his money just like that.
He
And he
doubled his
he wasn't
money.
he wasn't manual work. Wasn't trying to block, offensive tackle. You know what I mean? Like trying to block running backs
Mm-hmm.
and trying to, dude. Like it was, he just made a decision that, like I said, it's something that, um, to me
Mm-hmm.
personally,
Mm-hmm.
these young guys that you just mentioned, to me, they have the right people in their camp, Daryl.
Right. That's real
They're having
talk, bro.
they have good advice. They have a tight circle. It sounds. It's not like they're, let's go out and blow money and do stupid stuff like everybody does. Maybe they
Mm-hmm.
kind of go out that just to do that, but for the most part, when I kind of hear these things, to me,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, my personal opinion, to me that says that they have a strong camp around them, a good head on their shoulders, getting proper advice. Trying to stay out of all the traps that comes as a young cat with a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So
So we've already mentioned some names. Also, that Sean Culkin guy, I believe his name, Sean Culkin from Kansas City.
yeah, yeah, the Steelers,
Huge,
yeah,
huge fund of his money, or huge sum of his money rather, was
no doubt.
in crypto. So these guys, like you said, they got the right people in their camp. And I'm telling you, man, it's stuff that these guys know that we don't know yet, that they're able to just forecast a couple of years from now and say, hey, you know what? Even if it doesn't work out in football, you are set. And it's crazy. So you did name some players. Of course, I would think, besides Matt Barkley, the godfather of crypto, has got to be Russell Okung in the NFL, rather. He's the guy who's championed it. He's the guy who has done nothing but say Bitcoin, 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 even during the dip. So at one point in time, he was almost losing money too, to a certain degree. Didn't get, well, yeah, we did get to about 24, right? We did get there. So He
Right.
probably at one time he was losing money, but now we're talking about, hey, you survived the storm. You probably didn't take your money out of crypto and put it in something else because you're still championing it for it, even though, a lot of people were like scared, man, scared. And in the stocks, they call that paper hands.
Yep.
And look at them now, man, at 50K US. I'm thinking that's probably 53 on your end, somewhere around there. So I mean, it's going up, 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 really quick. I watch. There's a guy that I do watch on YouTube, and I can't even think of his name now. Very, very neutral, right? He's not trying to sell you anything. He just tells you what the market does. He harps a lot about market cap and market cap being able to determine the direction of the crypto. He is very bullish on 100K mark. He is
Okay.
very bullish. Very, very.
Yeah.
He's saying right now, Cardano, the way the numbers, if you're just looking at what the numbers and the data tells you, Cardano will be between $6 to $9 by the end of this year. And so this is when you start to see the push. We're getting into fall now. People are starting to take, well, we might have had a little issue with Hurricane Ida, or Hurricane Heidi, rather. Heidi or Hilda. It's a shame I don't even know the damn name. Hurricane H. Um, New Orleans is done, at least for a couple of months here. So we don't know what happens to the market during natural disasters. I never had that happen to me at this magnitude. We had the Texas freeze, right? And of course, we did have COVID, which is a pandemic, not a natural disaster, if you will. But it could be the same thing. So we'll see what does happen with this natural disaster, this terrible hurricane. And now, I mean, sidebar, what the hell's going on with this? We've got flooding in the Northeast. Bro, flooding in New
Yeah.
York? I mean, come on, man. This is just something that I've never heard of in my life. New York gets a lot of things. It don't get flooded. You know what I'm saying? So,
And you know what? This is prayers sent to everybody in New Orleans and hope everybody's okay and everything. But what if they say, the banks say, we're closed and you can't come in for 3 days because of reason A, B, or C. Or
mhm.
what if they start to do what like Greece did 6 years ago and said you're only allowed X amount of dollars per day per family because of something, right? Now,
Right.
now think if everybody, not everybody, but think if a lot of people are on a crypto network and they're able to exchange funds at this time just through the phone. They don't have to physically go and do
Mhm.
things there, right? So
Mhm.
this is kind of, again, remember we said it usually takes a bad experience to realize that maybe I need to switch and pivot off of my certain
Yes.
thought process to
Right.
basically, it's never good. It would never happen when it's good. Why? Because
Never.
everything's good.
Everything is good.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to get burned. You need to put your hand on the stove and get burned. Get burned. Ah, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to, like I said, pivot off to a different way. So,
Right.
who the hell knows, man? Like we said, it's things are changing so fast daily. But if the government decides to pull some bullshit like that, um, what can the people do? Who can you complain to? What are you gonna do, right? So that's why it's important to kind of get off that standard and get on the network where you can at least move money around,
Mhm.
not so dependent on this. And I get it. This is kind of the exception, not the rule all the time. But I just read yesterday that I was what 15, 16 years since Kanye West said George Bush doesn't like black
Yeah,
people.
16 years,
So
yeah.
and then right away again like this, man. So it's like, man, it's like they haven't even recovered from the first one completely,
Right.
for crying out loud,
Right.
man. So
Right.
it's crazy. So, anyways, yeah, I just want to make that point about something like that. If it's locked down and people can't get out and they can't access banks and food and money, the way to
Mhm.
get money, the crypto network and different options. It's important to get on so you can at least move your money around and still have control of a little bit of your funds. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep, that's true.
Yep.
Now, we also have crypto and obviously sports betting, which is huge. Um, First off, you like the idea, you hate the idea, you love the idea. What's your whole opinion on crypto and sports betting now? Incorporating now, instead of using your cash, your credit card, you can use Bitcoin. You can use different types of altcoins, if you will. But now there are actual betting sites that take all types of crypto that will pay you in crypto. What is your whole spiel? Well, you give me what you think is happening in that market and how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like it. I think it's just technical innovation, Daryl, over the last bunch of decades that the books have been online and stuff like that. I mean, I know you can still go hand a man some money now or grab some money, but everything's kind of online, right, as well. So I think this is just the next level now, and it just changes sort of the whole scope of how to bet and what to bet on, who you can bet with, right? Because some books you get certain games for some reason or certain lines, or you're out of that geographical area, let's say. So that kind of makes it tough, right? So how transactions are settled, right, on these crypto betting exchanges too. So yeah, like I said, I you mentioned earlier, Daryl, that um, you know these books are already kind of paying out in Bitcoin. I'm not sure of other cryptos, or you can deposit funds in Bitcoin. So
Mm-hmm.
they're already there in that sense. But like we were saying earlier, it's companies now are building like sports betting platforms on typically Ethereum blockchains, I believe, in there. So you're betting through there. So you're not betting. There's no intermediate. The transactions get settled relatively quick. So the same sort of concept with the money, the fiat versus
Mm-hmm.
crypto. Same sort of idea. This and how it is, right? So there's a couple of questions obviously that people want to know, right? So the first one typically is, is it safe to bet with the cryptocurrency, right? So just like Bitcoin and Ethereum are convenient and stable, it's the same sort of idea. When used for betting transactions, the crypto essentially lets you play with near perfect anonymity. So they don't know who it is. You didn't exchange any information when you to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to deposit from your wallet to the website's exchange, basically the same way you would deposit money into an account
Mm-hmm.
with dollars. Same sort
Mm-hmm.
of idea, right? So most bookmakers they accommodate crypto now and stuff as well. So let's go through maybe a couple advantages too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we talked about being anonymous, obviously, right? So that's kind of universal with the whole space, Daryl. Is that you're anonymous, right? It doesn't know who's sending. It's just the math and the algorithm is
Right.
solving that problem to say if it's okay, and if it's not okay, it'll tell you it's not okay. So those are the two options basically, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you're depositing funds, you remain anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're only depositing the money you're essentially depositing. That's all
Right.
you're submitting, no information, right? So people like that sort of security. No personal details, obviously. Um, Deposits are free and fast with
Yeah.
regular cryptos, right? So right away, they're settled right away. You can kind of bet with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of sort of sort of make your own lines in a way, sort of. So I don't have too much experience personally betting with them,
Yeah.
but I know it's becoming a thing, if you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
now coming into space, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's inevitable, and I think sky's the limit for it. Honestly, I think this might actually um, potentially wipe out the books, just like Netflix wiped out Blockbuster,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. Apple phone wiped out the LG flip phone. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Same type of thing, man. So
Yeah. I definitely believe it's the future. To me, it's kind of a little ahead of its time, only because um, you haven't seen a mass exodus of the books, right? And to be honest, who plays, who are the handicappers? They're still old guys, right? They're still guys who like to go to an actual book, take actual, hard cash, if you will, and go to a window and place their bet. That's just how it's always been. But you do see a lot of younger guys who are kind of taking a part in this market. Now, you got to have a lot of patience because we do understand this is volatile, right? So if you're using the wrong coins, I think that's where there is going to be a lot of issues where guys are using different types of coins to bet and be paid out in. And those coins may possibly not be a strong coin, right? You can get paid in Bitcoin. You can get paid out in Bitcoin. Bovada is already doing that, right? You can get paid out in Bitcoin. You can pay in Bitcoin. But the thing is, since we're talking about the long game, that bankroll is also going to be kind of the long game bankroll, if you will, right? This will be more, all right, you're accumulating money versus taking money out. So what I would say is if you are sports betting and you're trying to use crypto, the first thing I'd say is probably start a small new bankroll, right? I don't care what it is. Let it be $100. It's all experiment. Let it be 250, right? We all know our unit counts. It's 1% of your bankroll, if you will. Take $100, pay it into Bovada, and use Bitcoin. Build up that bankroll, but don't ever take out of it. Just build up the bankroll, right? And then take it out of Bovada and put it back into your Bitcoin account and never touch it. Never touch it. Even if you got an inch and crawl your way to, building up a bankroll, it's fine because in the long run, this bankroll is building itself for you on top of the money that you're putting in. Now, of course, maybe it's to a point to where Bitcoin is getting higher and higher and you think you're losing because it's rising. At this point, no. Anything that you're putting in, it may not be, say, it may not be as lucrative as when you first started, but the fact of the matter is it's still building. It's still building. And so that's what I would see happen first. People are going to have to try it and see if a system works before they really, really dive into it. Because bankroll management is, school all on its own. That's the biggest problem besides parlays with sports betting and the younger generation. These guys want the big money, quick money, and they don't understand that these parlays is where they get you. But also, these guys are doing 20 unit, 30 unit plays. They're betting their entire bankroll on one game and losing it. It definitely is. If never before, it is definitely a gamble. So I think you have to have a method that's tried and true. And what I would say is, hey, probably build you some type of bankroll by depositing Bitcoin, build that up. Everybody's got different accounts, right? Hopefully you're dealing with about 5, 6, or 7 books. Just depend on how much you want to, control your revenue. Dedicate one of those books who will take crypto to crypto. Start a bankroll. Only bet that bankroll, and let's just say you win $50 or $100. Let's just say out of that $100, you double your bankroll. You get $200. I would take that $100 that you just put it into a crypto account and never touch it, and build up the other bankroll. I guarantee, by the way things are going right now, that $100 that you put into the crypto account is probably going to bypass what you're trying to build in your bankroll because the markets are so bullish right now. You agree with that?
100% agree with that, and I like what you said. The very first thing you said was about it's a little ahead of its time, and I think that's a good point, and I think it's accurate, Daryl. Like anything, people receive or approach change a little hesitant and more from fear-based almost because they think change typically means harder or more work. But that's the opposite. So I like what you said also a little later on, where people have to get used to it. I think that's the point, right? I'll use another example. It's just like you go from going into the bank to paying your bills to online banking.
Right. Right.
Is it secure? What's going to happen? Right? If you remember that transition type of thing. Now let me ask you this: do you ever go back into a bank and
No,
pay anything?
not unless I have to, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same idea, and people are gonna be like, "Go to a book, man? Why would I?" In my opinion, that's 5 to 7 years, maybe sooner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd say that's the kind of comparison there. But I think those are two good points you made, and I agree. If you have multiple books and you're doing your little thing, even if you don't, put a little section away. Try that. Don't touch it. It's gonna grow no matter what. I think, right? So we're like you said, 100 grand is still in play. And I heard Max Kaiser say, who's actually the real Bitcoin bull, he was buying at $1 and giving Bitcoin town hall meetings, Daryl, when there was nobody in the attendance. He was telling people from that. So, he still thinks 220K is in play for this year. So
That's just baffling to me, man. And the only thing I could think happens with that, Mark, is you remember how GameStop just shot up and people were just jumping all on it. You just woke up one day and that line would not stop moving, man. It just would not stop. 220K by the end of the year, and we're at 50K. We're talking about growth beyond measure. I mean, we're talking about some serious growth in a short amount of time. I mean, you're talking about this coin going up at least a couple thousand a day
in 3 months.
in three September. You know,
4 months, yeah, right, right. So in four
unbelievable.
months, who's the? Unfortunately, I think for it to make that drastic of a change like that, there, something kind of, maybe it's already started. I mean, the floods,
Right,
Afghanistan,
right,
something else is gonna have to where it's just like we almost have no choice now. I mean,
right.
right now people still feel they have a choice. I can still leave my money in the bank in cash.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, that's never going to change. It's just the individual is going to have to catch up in their thinking to
Mm-hmm.
what it eventually is. You'll eventually get there. It's
Mm-hmm.
just people get there at different time lengths, in my opinion. And when they
Yeah.
get there, it's bad news, man. You're going to be like, this is not good. Now I have to look for something. So I think it's just a matter of people realizing that at different times
Mm-hmm.
and pivoting away and trying to find something that's going to at least preserve some wealth for themselves, their kids, or else everything is just going to get washed away, man. So
Absolutely. Let's talk about some quick disadvantages. What do you think are disadvantages with working with, crypto and sports betting? What do you think? The obvious is it's definitely a volatile market. What are we doing? Is this something that, let's just make it personal, right? Is this something that we obviously believe in, but is this something that you're willing to do right now, or are you still comfortable with the fact that you deal with a bookie, a window? What do you think of the disadvantages with sports betting and crypto?
yeah, I think for sure you mentioned Daryl, sort of the volatility of the market. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of um, expected when it comes to that. Obviously, um, would I look into getting into something like that? Absolutely, I would. It's all about, I think, being efficient, and if this
Mm-hmm.
makes it more efficient, and it can delay a book. Now, don't get me wrong, the book's actually pretty quick. The ones I use anyway, in terms of
Right.
getting there. There's always that intermediate, and I think that for me personally, that's always the bit of an issue. It's the trust. What Bitcoin does and crypto does, Daryl, it eliminates the trust. We don't have to trust
Mm-hmm.
another.
Did I miss you there? I think I missed you, Mark. I don't know. I kind of froze up on me, but I will finish that. Um, Trust factor is one thing. Ease of use and convenience is another, and this is really becoming that. It is absolutely becoming that. Very, very easy, very efficient, and I just believe this is where we're going to be. As far as disadvantages, it is efficient, it is easy, but still, if you don't know, let's just say you're not really up to par on how blockchains work, and you're really not up to par on how to transfer money. You could easily move that money to someone else's account and you never be able to get it back, right? So if you're not savvy enough to be able to transfer Bitcoin right now, then that's probably not something you would want to jump into right away. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, shouldn't jump into crypto first off if you're not really familiar with it and how to work it. So that's a disadvantage. Another disadvantage, just like I've got happening to me right now, my phone is completely dead. My screen is off. I try to do my own DIY to it, and it's dead. So right now, as far as trying to make a crypto bet and all that, uh, I can't. I can't because everything is attached to my phone, not my laptop, not my iPad. And hey, I even said, hey, listen, use one dedicated device for your crypto needs and all that stuff. Well, my device happens to be my phone. And so now that is a disadvantage. If you need to get some cash right away or something like that, well, you can't. You can't if you have a dedicated device that is locked to and you have no way of, recovering it and retrieving it. So, yeah. Now, what were you saying, Mark?
You, yeah. So I think I must have dropped off there. I got cut off a little
Yeah.
bit there, Daryl. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no. Just quickly on what you were saying right now. That's the importance of the backup wallet, though, right? You can lose your phone as long as you have your
Mm-hmm.
your wallet, you can still
Mm-hmm.
access it as well. So that's the importance of it as well. So we talk about not leaving it on exchanges too much for certain reasons. Same thing like that. Now you can't access it. Now you're like
Right.
paranoid the whole day and like
Yeah.
tripping out, right? Yeah, man. So, but at least you have the key aside, you have your password, you can still access your crypto funds, which is the most important part.
Yeah. And so once again, I've told on myself because we've talked about this and I don't have that. Well, I do have that. Here is my problem. And I'm just going to be personal again. Everything that I've done with crypto has just been all learning. And so I'll tell you, man, these things are harder than they may seem at times. I tried to move crypto from just one blockchain to another. And when I tell you, Mark, that I just had the worst problems with it, and it was just simple tweaks that I had to make in order to do it. But it was just first off me not fully understanding the verbiage, me not fully really understanding, if anything, how it works. You know, there's times that you can take crypto out and transfer it, and that gas fee, if you will, may be less of a cost, right? So you got to know: do I want to pay less of a transaction fee to move this money? I tried to move $100, and if I hadn't read if I wasn't familiar, Mark, I tell you right now, if I was not familiar, I tried to move $100 of Bitcoin to another wallet, and when I looked down, the fee alone was going to cost me $52.
Yeah, that's crazy.
$52, Mark. And so, if you're not hip to these types of things and you're just pressing buttons, I mean, there's no go back. There's no redo. Once it's done, it's done. So it's one shot, one kill type deal. So that's a huge disadvantage, that I could see. If you're not technically savvy, we've talked about this, then you need to get technically savvy, right? At least know how to maneuver and move the money around. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Mark?
Um, no, like I said, I think it's important for definitely to be on the wallets, but yeah, I'd say definitely if you're getting new into the space and you're trying to move like that, Daryl, I would suggest obviously YouTube is your friend. I think there's tons of videos,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good point. Maybe start with something small, even like obviously less than $100 if you can, if the fee can be a little less than that, maybe
Mm-hmm.
20 bucks, something that if something were to happen, it's not like life or death situation type of thing, right?
Absolutely.
But like you said, it's just familiarity. It's understanding the scope of what you're trying to accomplish and do, having an idea, right? So it can be overwhelming, obviously, if you're not well versed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like anything, it's just repetitive, and you do it enough, it becomes secondhand, and that's kind of the
Absolutely.
point of this whole thing. I believe in 5 years, it's going to be secondhand. It's going to be like you used to walk into a bank to take out
Yeah.
paper. What is that? So
Right.
it's going to be a foreign concept to sort of the younger generation. So it's just evolution, man. That's
Right.
it. That's what it is, technology, right? So
Yeah. So to wrap it up, man, I think we touched on some good points about crypto and sports, especially the athletes now who are kind of really getting there really fast. We've got some young cats in this game, man, who are asking to be paid in crypto. Cade Cunningham is a big example. Trevor Lawrence is a huge example, man. Um, Sports betting being legal just about almost everywhere in the States. We're not there just yet. Um, but that's also huge, right? That is huge, where you can start combining and merging these markets together. Sports betting and crypto, it's ahead of its time, but it might really take over just the brick and mortar way of doing sports betting now, right? So you got to be on the lookout for that. You say probably about 5 or 7 years, Mark. I think you're spot on. I think we're just about there, especially after, if it's predicted what this Bitcoin is going to do, and you're going to have some new Bitcoin billionaires, millionaires, if you will. There's some guys, man, who got into this a little later, right? It's still not too late, but they didn't get it at that $8 mark. You know what I'm saying? They might have got in at the 10,000 or something like that. They're about to be okay. You know,
they're gonna be okay.
they're
They're
going
gonna
to
be
be
okay.
okay. So yeah, we see that if this rush and this prediction is correct, that you could see this hit a lot sooner in the sports betting market than later. So besides the players getting paid, besides sports betting and crypto being merged together right now, we do have crypto betting sites. We do have different platforms where you can use altcoins, not just Bitcoin. My whole desire, for everyone is to definitely get educated in bankroll management. But hey, Mark, use $100 in Bitcoin, build that bankroll, and see what happens. Right? See what happens. I need to probably do an experiment, probably do a real life experiment in real time, especially with the NBA. I might think about that. That's something that's kind of sticking with me now to see if I can build a Bitcoin bankroll.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
looked at the disadvantages, which is really not being tech savvy. Um, in my case, make sure that you have all your stuff backed up, because if you're needing that money, and you don't know how to get to it, it's going to be a problem. It's there. Make sure that you're sending it to the right address. Make sure that you just know what you're doing before you delve into this, right? Make sure you don't see, you make sure you do your due diligence. That's all I could say. Do your due diligence with sports betting and crypto, because the market is very volatile. So make sure you're using at least a dependable crypto coin. I mean, at this point, Mark, I would probably say I would only bet in Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe some others, but there should not be a whole bevy of coins. I mean, especially these coins that are not even at a penny, right? There's no way that I'm betting on these coins at all. But at least use a reputable coin, Bitcoin Cash, you know, things of that nature. There are some reputable coins that cost a lot of money besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so, we understand that the market is volatile, and we understand that you can lose your money. So do your due diligence. Mark, before I let you go, man, what you got going on for the rest of the day? And what else do you have to add to this interesting conversation today?
yeah. No, I think it was a good conversation, and I think it's important to kind of intertwine the sports and crypto to kind of spaces that we both enjoy. So yeah, I think it's good and something maybe we can build off a bit as well. And you said some of the disadvantages just quickly about maybe being tech savvy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the point we're trying to make, right? Is that not that I say that this is a young person's game, but
Yeah.
everyone coming up, they grew up with phones, they grew up with technology. It's easy for them, Daryl. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
Right.
maybe for the folks who kind of have to, like I said, learn a new technology or lose something, it might be a little overwhelming for them. But for the new kids, man, it's second nature to them. I think they
Right.
grew up with a phone, they grew up with technology,
Yes,
so
sir.
adding this into their everyday detail when they already do everything else on their phone,
Right.
it's no big deal, I think. So, yeah. Other than that, man, yeah, it's all good. It's what day is it today? Thursday.
Yes, it
It's a long
is.
week. It's a long weekend.
It
We have
is.
Labor Day, so yeah, it's a nice long weekend. A week away from NFL football,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's a
Yes,
good time of
sir.
year. Despite what's going on, still got to be
Mm-hmm.
thankful that we're healthy and alive and all that, right?
Yes,
So,
sir. Absolutely.
yeah, man. So like I said, hopefully everybody, all your peeps are good,
Mm-hmm.
and your daughter's good, and Granny's
Thank you.
good, and all that, man. So sincerely, prayers up for your family, and sending positive energy your way, my guy.
Yes, man. Thank you. I received that. All right, man. We will let you go. We're about to tap out of here. We will be back on Monday. Let's get together Monday, Mark. I'm gonna get on the 4K and look real pretty for y'all and get my stuff back together and wipe the dirt off my shoulder, man. But yeah, until next time, I'm Daryl, man. You can find me at It's Daryl on Twitter. Mark, what's your Twitter handle?
At Pandaman Sparks, that's where you're gonna find me, and that's the only place you will find me.
Everywhere. He's everywhere, though. He is everywhere. But you will find him on Twitter. All right, brother. You and yours be blessed, and I will talk to you on next week. Everyone else, y'all take care. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. And we're almost done, almost done, almost done.